You arrive in Artlandia with nothing, no abilities, just passion. You pitch a tent to live in Line City, on Messy Lines Lane. And around this civilized area of the map is this sprawling jungle, and it's so wild it's uncharted. The map is just grey here. But within that jungle, there's these little pockets that have been tamed, little villages created, and in each, a brave adventurer has gone out into that jungle and hacked away with their machetes, fought against the snakes, and made it their own. So those adventurers are artists, and with their drawings and paintings, they let you visit their part of the jungle. And you love to visit them, but you want to go out into the wilderness and create your own settlement. So to do that, you need skills and you need equipment. Your favorite artists all seem to have studied the gesture arts at the Gesture Temple. So you make a pilgrimage there. You're thrown straight into the training there, but you get your ass kicked by every pose. The monks tell you to head over to boring old Proportionton. You go there for a while and you save up enough to buy a tool that you need. It helps you to start to get the head roughly proportionate to the torso. So you've taken your first steps, but you aren't really sure what you're looking at in the figure. So you go to Anatomopolis. It's a huge and intimidating place full of people speaking a language you don't understand. But you've got a good guidebook called Love Life Drawing, so you know you just need the basics. You put your head down and just go to see the main landmarks. Ribcage Tower and Pelvis Square. Maybe a few other bony landmarks. Take some photos and you know you're going to check out the rest of the city another time. So now you can start to map out the figure's important landmarks a little bit, but the drawings feel flat. You head over to Value Mountains, to the shady peaks, to get some amazing shading skills like your favorite artists. But you're not quite ready for it yet. You're helicopter evacuated out to a hospital in Form City, and it's just where you need to be. So you go to Perspect Avenue. You go to Perspect Avenue. The buildings... You go to Perspect Avenue. The buildings help you to understand the building blocks of form. So now you're ready to head back to the Value Mountains. But this time you just head to the Simplification Monastery. They show you the dark arts of shadow shapes. And as you meditate, you start to see what matters and how simple it can all be. So your simplified shadow shapes are really helping you out, bringing form to the drawings, but they're still a little bit vague. It's time to visit Anatomopolis again. And this time you head to the Muscle Beach. You think you'll really take in everything this time, but it's too much, so you wisely choose to just learn the basics of the major muscle groups. You're giving some form and sense of light and dark to your drawings, but they're stiff. And finally, you truly understand the need for the gesture arts. You attempt again to enter Gesture Temple. You do learn a lot, but still you're beaten by every foe. You're still drawing just a little bit stiff. You can't stand the idea of another night in your tent on Messy Lines Lanes. You know it's time to move, so you go to the discomfort zone and you fight the big ogre and steal the overhand grip. You trade it in for a nice house on Line Quality Street. So things are looking up. You revisit Form City. You go back to Perspect Avenue. You go back to the Simplification Monastery. You're fighting monsters all the way, building experience points. So eventually you try the Gesture Temple again. You fight opponent after opponent and you lose to every single one. And bruised and battered, you pick yourself up for one last battle. If you're gonna go down, you're gonna go down fighting. And somehow you win. And then you lose the next 10, but you got one. You beat one, and no one can take that away from you. And then you start to win 1 in 20, and then you start to win 1 in 10, and then you just progress from there. And you start to have fun. Eventually the monk smiles at you and opens the huge gate at the back of the temple. You pick up your weapons and look out at the jungle beyond, and you realize the adventure hasn't even started yet. So that's one way that your art story could go. And I think it's important to think about it like that, because I used to think it was more like you progress in a straight line. So there's where you are and there's where your favorite expert artists are. And to go from A to B, you can just go like the crow flies. You see how they draw and you think, I'll use the same materials, I'll use the same skills, I'll draw like they draw now. And when those experts are explaining how to draw, they say the same. They say, skip all my past mistakes and draw the way that I draw now at my expert level. But they're not just mistakes that you should skip over. They're necessary stops on your route. Spend some time on messy lines lanes, because that's an important step in learning to draw. But it's not a linear story either. On the first visit to each place, you just pick up a couple of the basic skills and then you have to revisit them later on, and you keep going back to them. And as you go, you're fighting monsters all the way. To progress the story, you got to talk to that character, you got to pick up this skill, pick up that item. It's an adventure story. Just to round out the video, I wanted to give you a practical tip based on all of that, which is to make a schedule of topics that you're going to cover. So that instead of thinking, I've got to learn that, oh my God, I've got to learn that too, there's so much I have to learn, you think, oh, perspective, I need to learn that, but it's okay because I've got it scheduled for November. And make sure that you make quick poses and gestural drawings the topic for February, because February is Figuary. We're going to be doing quick sketch practice from 1 to 5 minutes here on this channel together with Croquis Cafe. Figuary, February 2020 is figure drawing month. So join the challenge. A little bit of drawing every day is going to make a huge difference. Join us for Figuary. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and our newsletter to stay up to date. There should be more videos up on the screen. Check one of them out and I'll see you over there.